Alrighty, and I do believe we are live.
Looks
Hello,
that way.
good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for showing up to one of the most jacked up channels on the interwebs. Hopefully, this turns out pretty good. I seem to be getting a little bit better at this every time. So, we're here for another grumpy chat with my special guest, Mr. Randolf Richardson. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm doing well. It's earlier than usual for me for this, and that can be refreshing.
All right. So I was supposed to have Randolph come on my channel quite a little while ago, probably about a month ago or whatever. And then, of course, I had a bit of a meltdown, and that didn't work out. But I got my shit together. We got it back on the channel. And before we really even get into this, I'm going to let everybody know that from this point on, I will be setting my channel to 18 plus because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff that I don't really want to push onto younger people. I don't want to influence them. I want them to make their own choices and own decisions. And I usually got a freaking gutter mouth. So we're going to make it 18 plus from here on out. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for showing up. Aunt Jer, thank you for, putting that up on Twitter that nobody could see my upcoming live stream because, well, whoever's watching this at YouTube, please tell your boss to fix your stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently,
problem. Huh.
Yeah, apparently nobody's live streams are showing up as upcoming. You have to go searching for them, which it shouldn't be that way. It should show up on the home section of my YouTube channel that I have an upcoming live stream.
I find that's hit and miss. There's something in the studio that lets you add featured sections, and I think I remember in there it showed something about upcoming streams.
Yeah, I did that. And
oh, you did? Okay.
It's still not showing up because, well, YouTube wants to keep tweaking things. I don't think they've ever heard the old slogan, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay, yeah. That's a problem in the technology industry specifically. We see that a lot. People are changing things all the time.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to make this better. No, you really didn't. Yeah. So, Randolph.
Yeah.
You, now, I don't know a whole lot about it. I did look at, some of the links that you sent me and everything. Now, are you the founder of Canadian Atheists?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your organization?
Gladly, yes. So the Canadian Atheists I founded, I had realized a number of years ago that there's no national atheism organization in Canada, and the US has one, the Australia has one, Ireland has one, and other countries have them as well. And so I saw it as a good opportunity to set one up. And although we don't have a major problem with religious oppression imposed on atheists here, like some other countries do, and in some countries it's particularly bad, very, very toxic. There are some elements of that existing here, though, unfortunately. So this seemed to me like a really good time to proceed with this, because it would be a small battle to fight, hopefully, instead of waiting and letting it happen later on and then become a larger battle. So I feel like we're a little bit ahead of the game in some respects by doing this. What our main objectives are to vilify, to counter the vilification of atheism and atheists, and to normalize atheism in society. So where people will say stuff like, "Oh, they ask about a person, the person says that they are religious, where that's something that people usually don't bat an eye at, okay, and carry on. There are some people who, when they hear that you don't believe in a deity or that you're an atheist, their reaction is like, oh, there's something wrong with you, or how come you're so nice? You seemed like you'd be a religious person or something. So there's this expectation being pushed through, and what the underlying message with those kinds of responses is an incorrect one, that atheism is not normal. And so we're trying to change things so that atheism is regarded as normal, just like religion is. Not that we're a religion or anything, but we just want to just not be ostracized anymore. And, it's been going on for thousands of years that people who don't conform to whatever the current religion of society is are ostracized and discriminated against. That has to stop now. And we have a constitution here in Canada that has Charter of Rights and Freedoms is a particularly important section of that guarantees that everybody has the freedom and right to be religious or non-religious. Otherwise, it's not a freedom if it's only biased to one direction. Right. We have freedom of expression, which also guarantees that you have freedom not to express yourself in the same kind of tone. And so we're going along with that. And there's also another section that's under Section 2. Under Section 15 of our charter, everybody's equal under the law and has equal access to the law. And that's guaranteed. So that means no discrimination, and there's a few examples in there like racism and different things, and sexism and things like that are forbidden. And so, but those are just examples. By saying no discrimination, that means no discriminating against all sorts of different things, including all the other things that are specified in our charter rights under Section 2 and whatnot. So we feel that the law, constitutional law, is on our side, and the principles of justice are all consistent with that. So I believe that we have a very good standing, a very good footing on this, and so this is almost like an entitlement in a way, but I don't want to really call it that, because I think it's protected under law, and I think the law is ethical and right in this case.
So pretty much the way that the United States is supposed to be, except we seem to keep passing laws that are in favor of religious organizations, unfortunately, which I guess you don't really have that problem in Canada.
We do, actually. Once in a while, there are people that try to do that. And nice, your cat looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Balder.
Balder?
Yeah.
Okay. Not to be confused with Balderdash, the game.
No.
Although sometimes when your cat knocks things down, you might say Balderdash.
Oh yeah, we're always getting on his case because he's forever in my little room here trying to steal something. Little badass.
Yeah, you've got things nicely set up behind you for a studio there with all the lights and whatnot. It's great.
I'm working on it.
Well, it stands out because not a lot of people are using lighting in the background like that. That's very effective. I've always liked that. So before I started the Canadian Atheist, just very, very soon before it, like within a year or something, I was part of a petition, just one of the signatories on it. Somebody else who I don't know who they are, but they're also Canadians. They started this in Ontario. I'm in British Columbia, the west end of Canada. Ontario's at the east end. So they petitioned our government to remove some anti-blasphemy legislation that prescribed punishments and fines for including prison time, as I recall, for committing libelous blasphemy. And so our Charter of Rights and Freedoms are newer than that and at a higher level, being in our Constitution. So they override that. But nonetheless, those are still they were still in the criminal code of our country. Criminal code is a very important piece of legislation. It's what people would be charged under for serious crimes, violent crimes, and things like that. So it was in there as well. And they so that was removed because we petitioned the government and enough people signed, and then the politicians approved it. And then it went through various readings, and it finally received royal assent, and then that portion of the law was removed. So we do, as a society, need to push back against these things when they do come into play. The Conservative Party of Canada in recent years was even sending out some subtle hints that they would be willing to entertain private members' applications or private members' bills on abortion, even though in the same sentence they said that they're not going to discuss it. So they're it's almost like they're contradicting themselves. So to us, that seemed like they were sending out a subtle message to the groups that are anti-abortion to go ahead, you'll be giving them a green light to say, here, you can talk to us about it. We won't raise it, but if you raise it, we'll listen. And that shouldn't even be allowed because slavery is illegal in Canada. So, I see abortion, the anti-abortion attitude, as tantamount to pro-slavery. If you're forcing somebody to take the baby to term, you are taking away their right to bodily autonomy and therefore enslaving them. And that, to me, is a violation of human rights, and that is unacceptable. We can't allow it. And if you're going to limit a person's rights because of a health condition, a physical health condition like that, that's not contagious, then you have then they don't have the same rights, and that's not acceptable in today's society. So, and there's no science to back up the anti-abortion position, in my view.
Okay. Now, I noticed, let me go scroll back through here. Who put that up there?
We've got questions from the chat?
No, not a question. It was just a comment from Aunt Jer. The Canadian Atheist Organization gives every new member a welcome gift. A reusable tote filled with a bottle of maple syrup, recipe for poutine, a bag of milk, and a gift card to Tim Hortons.
Wow. We actually don't do that, but it's a fantastic idea. Now, I'd be quite interested in finding a way to do that because I think it really is a great idea. But it's except for the Tim Hortons gift card, because who's going to pay for that? If Tim Hortons is willing to put some money on there automatically just for the publicity, then yeah, sure, we'll do it. But for us to go and pay for that, no. The membership dues are actually very very helpful to us for taking care of our operating costs. We don't have very high operating costs. We're running this as very low budget as we possibly can, but that could change in the near future, and we're hoping it will, because in fact this year we brought Neil, the 604 Atheist, on as our community advocate, and he's done a phenomenal job. He's been fantastic, but the problem with doing any community events right now is obviously the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. So we've had to put all those social community projects on hold for the time being. And so one of them that wasn't put on hold is the True North Talk program, which is an atheism call-in program. It's not done yet. It hasn't been started yet, but we're still working on the renovations because I'm converting part of my own property to like it was a lean-to it had some problems with leaky roof and whatnot, and rat infestation because the previous owner didn't quite build it right, so we had to tear a bunch of it down, and quite a bit of it was rotting. So we just kind of removed it all. We're rebuilding a whole new wall, building up new walls, and redoing the roof and whatnot. It's turned into quite a major project. But once that's all up and running, then we'll have a dedicated place for this, which will really help. So at least with that, we're able to proceed with that. But hopefully we can have the renovations done in a few months and have that program going. So, yeah. One more thing I just wanted to mention quickly about our Charter of Rights and Freedoms is that it's not exclusive to Canadian citizens. So anybody who's visiting Canada, these rights are also applicable to them. So people can come here and visit. We had a number of years ago, a white supremacist group came and rented the City Hall property outside in Vancouver, BC. And so I decided I'm going to go there and listen to what they have to say, and then I'll give them a piece of my mind. And I thought, okay, so there's a group of about 10 or 20 of them going to show up. I expect maybe 50, maybe 100 people will show up because it's mentioned on the radio. More than 30,000 people showed up to voice their hostility toward that group. That was fantastic. I felt so good about that. There were so many people there, such a diversity of people like we normally see, but wow, all crowded into one spot. And I've got some video footage and pictures of that I should probably put online one of these days. That would actually be good. But it was really fantastic that so many people showed up to say, no, racism is not acceptable here. And it was such a wonderful thing. And, they were exercising their right as people within Canadian borders to freedom of expression, and so was everybody else. There was no violence there. It was really good. A couple of people were caught with knives, and the police took care of them right away, but nobody got hurt or anything like that. So it was a nonviolent protest. It was a lot of loud and angry voices, but there was no violence. It was fantastic. So, and awesome. I did get a chance to ask them, their leader. I finally got my chance to ask. A lot of people were asking them dumb questions, and a few had reasonable questions. And then I asked about, I mentioned what's in our charter about non-discrimination and equality and all this, and and no racism. And that guy's response was that, and the whole crowd had mostly quieted down when I asked this question. And I guess they were kind of used to the mocking questions. And so they're hearing, oh, here's a serious question. Let's hear what the guy says. He started going on about, oh, it's a slippery slope. And I'm thinking, it's already the law here. What do you mean slippery slope? We're beyond that stage. That this stuff was brought in the early 80s. So, it's been tested in the law a number of times, and our rights have successfully been defended over and over again here. So I'm not seeing the slippery slope, but I didn't get a chance to continue with him because a group nearby started chanting the F word, and that was the end of that.
Oh, jeez.
It was a pretty lively group, that's for sure. But it was a very good experience. And so I thought, this is exactly an example of the free exchange of ideas being supported by our Constitution, by our charter rights. And everybody's engaging in it, and we're finding out what each other's views are quite strongly. So this was good. This was a good, refreshing thing to see. So,
yeah, I kind of, wish we would see more stuff like that here. Of course, we have people that do speak out against, the racist, but it usually leads to violence.
And that's unfortunate. That escalation to violence is taking it out of the realm of the free exchange of ideas and turning it into potential to a desire to oppress as being what's revealed there. Is what's being there. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to once again say hi to everybody in the chat. My mate, Atheist Pastor, Mr.
Hey,
Chris
I've spoken with Atheist Pastor before. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah.
And Never Again, Doorknob Head. Doorknob Head is it. He's one of my favorite viewers because he's absolutely out of his mind, and I love it.
Oh, his sense of humor is fantastic. Never gets a name I've seen popping up a few times lately as well. I recognize Doc Fearsome, of course, and Aunt Jer, and Chad Hall is a new name to me. I think I've seen that name a few times.
He's one of your fellow Canadians.
Okay. Hello, Chad. Hello, everybody.
another one of the bearded pirate group.
Yeah. Oh, Aunt Jer's just writing that a atheist pastor is her imaginary friend. He was Atheist Pastor was in a conversation with Darth Dawkins, known now as Duncan Atheism, and he had announced to Darth Dawkins that he had converted to Hinduism. Yes. And then Darth Dawkins started asking questions that seemed like he knew some things about Hinduism. He had some really relevant questions. And then I think it was less than 20 minutes. And then Atheist Pastor said, no, I'm not actually Hindu. Yeah. But it was hilarious. And I was thinking, okay, yeah, this is going to throw Darth Dawkins off. It didn't. He handled it like a champ, but I thought that was a really good interaction. They went back and forth, awesome. And I think Atheist Pastor came out ahead on that one. Yeah. Hello, Godless Granny. I see her in the chat too.
Yep. I love Kelly. Kelly's awesome.
That's her real name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Hope I didn't dox you there, Godless Granny. So now, along with, running and, founding and running Canadian Atheists, you do have a YouTube channel.
Yes, I do. And it's at youtube.com/Randolf Richardson. It's RANDOLF. And I've been posting some videos there from different interviews and debates I've been in. I fell behind on that. So lately I've been working on catching up to that, because what I normally do, and it'd be the same after this, is I'll wait at least a month before I post it so that I'm not competing with you for subscribers and views and things like that. And I do that for everybody. I think it's just what I've decided to do out of respect for the people who are bringing me on. And of course, link back to the original videos. So I'm building up a bit of a library that way. And that's been quite nice to do. And I would extend the same in the future when I start bringing people onto my channel, which I plan to do in various ways. I have a number of different programs in mind for this that I want to start up. Those I will, of course, welcome people to copy those videos as well.
Well, I'm the g.o.d, so I get to, kind of tell people what to do a little bit, and you don't have to wait a month. You can post this whenever you want.
Everybody says that, but I as a matter of courtesy, I'm still going to wait a month minimum before I do it. And I want to see your channel do well, and the last thing I want to do is compete with any of that. So there we go. Yeah. And I do have a list of atheist run YouTube channels on a website I've been running for a long time called the Atheist Frontier, and I believe you're in there too.
Yeah, I believe you put me in there quite a few months ago, actually. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Godless Granny's in there and Atheist Pastor is in there. I'm quite sure about that. Of course, if I am missing anybody, I am welcome. I welcome feedback, and I'll gladly put more atheists in there. We've got almost 200 people in that one section, nice. The channels. So it's been growing slowly over time. And at first it didn't seem like much, but now I look back and wow, I put all this in. Holy cow, This is a lot of work if you're going to do it in one day.
Yeah. So you're not doing original content well, I don't want to say it that way. You don't make your own videos like a lot of other YouTube creators.
Oh no, but I'm going to. My focus is getting the studio done first, which is my office, and it's doubling. Part of it is dedicated to the True North Talk studio, but I'm going to use that for my own content as well. I'll change the background. It won't be the True North Talk background when I'm doing my stuff, because I want to have a distinctly different look for those, but set it up so that we can easily change those things around. So that's the nice thing about building your own studio, is you can kind of provision for these kinds of things ahead of time, and get that done properly. So do it in a way that we can easily slide different backgrounds in and out is what part of the plan is there. Now,
see, you have an idea, a little bit better than mine, because I'm a slack ass. I just got one background for everything. Yeah,
that's what I have right now. I'm like you right now.
I'm not changing backgrounds. We'll do grumpy chats with this background, then I'll shoot a video with the same background.
Yeah. There's a couple of response videos that I want to do too, especially to videos that are attempting to distort what atheism is. And to me, it's fundamental that one of the most important things about atheism is that it's the absence of belief in deities, and yet people will add more to that sometimes for their own ideas, which is fine. But the fundamental point that all those variations agree with is that we don't believe in any deities, any goddesses or gods, and so it's just. Oh, I like Atheist Pastor's comment. He's got a blank wall. We're doing better than him. I don't know. I think I've seen some bookshelves in his background before. Maybe he doesn't remember.
if he shifts the camera a little bit.
Yeah. So So it's
speaking about that point real quick.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, and I have this listed, in the bio of my Twitter, that I'm a misanthrope. I don't like people very much,
Okay.
and I've had people tell me, "Oh, you can't talk to people like that and claim to be an atheist." And I'm like, my lack of belief in God has nothing to do with the way I talk to somebody.
Exactly. How you talk with people is completely incidental to that. I tell people exactly that. It's everything else is incidental. A person could be a murderer and still be an atheist. And in fact, a fairly recent case within the last few years about that is a guy named Craig Hicks, who murdered 3 girls over a parking space dispute. And turned out that they're Muslims. So the media, of course, picked up on that and said an atheist shot some Muslims. Yeah. That's not what it was about, though. It was about a parking space dispute and Craig Hicks not handling it very well because he committed murder instead of finding a much better way to resolve the dispute that didn't involve hurting anybody. So, of course, I'll support his right to be an atheist, but for that horrific thing he did, no, to me, that's not acceptable. But that's incidental to atheism. That's what he's done with his life, and he has to be responsible for that, and as he should. And I discourage people from acting violently, regardless of whether they're an atheist. Because that's just a matter of having a better quality society that I want to live in, which is not a Christian value. It's not an Islamic value. It's not a Buddhist value. It's not an atheist value. It is a value of being a person who values the rule of law in their society is what it is. And anybody can hold to that or not. So, yeah.
And so just to clarify for Ancher, I don't hate all people. Just the majority, because there's a lot of stupid in the world.
Yeah, well, you keep smiling about it. For a grumpy old dude, you sure do smile a lot. I have trouble believing that you hate so many people.
I'm telling you, it's getting to be more and more every day.
Yeah, I can understand the frustration. You even see it on the road when I'm driving. People, they'll in this city that I'm in, they'll signal right and then turn left, or signal left and then turn right in front of you while you're coming up. So, yeah. So
yeah, we have the problem around here of people just randomly stopping on a straight street, just stop and start going again and stop. Sure. And it's like, what are you doing? Are you lost? Get the fuck out of my way.
So if they're just, that happens maybe once or twice a year, you'll assume car problems, but I'm gathering from what you're saying it's a lot more common and frequent than that.
Yeah, my wife and I don't know how many times we've had people on. Now the normal speed in the area where I live is usually 55 miles an hour, especially on a straightaway that goes for miles.
Okay.
And we'll be going to go shopping, or when she was still working at her office, I'd be taking her to work.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be heading down the highway, and people would just slow down to like 20 miles an hour. And I'm like, what do you do? Get out of the way. Like,
That's
if you don't know how to freaking drive.
That's almost 1/3 of the speed. That's like, they're taking almost 2/3 off the total speed there. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, idiots really don't have anything to do with this conversation. So
I'll say cheers to that, sir.
So now, along with Canadian Atheists, are you involved with any other programs or groups or anything like that?
Sure. There's the first two that come to mind are, of course, Canadian Blood Services. Neil and I donate blood, and now Simply Secular Dave is going to join us with that. He's already donating blood anyway, but we're kind of more going to be synchronizing our donations and maybe all donate together. So he's going to meet up with us there today, actually. That's happening today on Wednesday. So I have to get some sleep after this and then go and donate blood. It's good after I see clients and all this. So that one's important. What I really like about donating blood, even though I can only do it every 2 months, I wish I could do it more often, but there's no point because it takes a while to regenerate the blood cells that they need. So they have the great thing about donating blood is that you're helping people who you don't even know. It's just a way to contribute to a better quality of life for other people, and because there's never enough blood. We never have enough of it. So anybody who can donate, that would be great. If you can, if your blood is tainted, Canadian Blood Services now will accept tainted blood because it can be used for scientific research instead of using good blood for it.
Oh.
So more good blood is left remaining available to people who need it. And so this is really a wonderful thing that people can contribute still now, where in the past maybe they couldn't because they have some sort of a disease or some other genetic problem or something that rules it out for them to be able to donate. So this, I was very happy to find out about that. I don't have tainted blood, but there are some people who do, who were telling me that they were very sad that they couldn't donate because of that. And then they're really happy to find out they can. And in other countries, some of the other blood donation systems out there, it's worth asking if you have tainted blood, if they can still take it and use it for research purposes, because some of them can. And then that's great, because it means that the blood that's not tainted doesn't have to be used for research as much, and then more of it's available for people who are really in need. So this is a very good thing, I think. So that's one program. Another one is the let me just double check that I got the acronym right.
Okay.
It is the IAA is the International Association of Atheists. This is a really good group. It's run by somebody named who's known as the Godless Mom, and Courtney is her name. So they're helping atheists all over the world who are in some ways their lives may be in danger, and they're able to operate from the outside of their situation and make sure the right people who can help them can get involved and help them. So they've been making some progress in this area and changing some people's lives for the better, helping them to do it, and it's wonderful. So we have, if you go to the bulletin section of the Canadian Atheists website, there's an article about that there, that we have an affiliation with them, and it'll link to their website if you want to help them as well. And we also have an announcement about Canadian Blood Services and whatnot. Yeah. So there's the other thing that one of the things that we want to do with Canadian Atheists, and that we couldn't because of the pandemic, is that we want to run an atheism event where we bring in speakers like others have done, and of course schedule it so it's not conflicting with other events, and then people from all over the world can come and attend and get pictures with the speakers and all this kind of stuff. Our intention is not to charge for pictures. If people want to get a picture with the presenters, that's fine. I know some of the events will do that for various industries. So we're definitely not in favor of that. We want people to be able to enjoy the event freely as much as possible. There'd be a price for the ticket to come in and be part of that and attend, but that would be it. That's as far as the expense would go. That's our intention. So yeah, you're just paying to have a seat, like going to a movie theater or something. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's so that's something we really want to do as well. And we actually had quite a lot figured out what the insurance costs would be, the cost for security, cost for marketing, and cost for bringing in the speakers, and different kind of costs related to all that. So that's how we're able to. We need to know all that so we can keep the ticket price as low as possible, and because it's not intended to be a hugely profitable thing, but the profits that do come from that will be used, of course, mostly in future events to keep them going as well, and some of that goes back to Canadian Atheists. That's our intention with all that. So so that would be a kind of a nice big thing. They've had, I think, the Reason Rally, or they've had other events in the U.S. and in other countries. So we want to do this here in Canada and bring people in from all over the world to enjoy it and partake in it. So
nice.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, I do have Randolph's links in the description.
Thank you.
So go check them out. Check out Canadian Atheists and all that stuff. Atheist Pastor has a comment. Event photos can often help to subsidize tickets for those who can't afford them. Don't discount it.
Okay, so one thing that we would do is we could offer to take pictures for people and charge a couple of dollars so that it covers all the production expense for that. If they wanted us to take those pictures, we'll just take them anyway, and if they want them. But aside from that, it's not really something that we're wanting to get into, because our focus is more on the speakers and getting fans to be able to meet up with their favorite presenters and all this kind of thing, because I think that's the main thing that we're after. And there's your friendly neighborhood atheist, and admiring how early we're up and at it, and you're there with your coffee and I'm here with my water. Cheers to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here so early.
I love that little baby face. What's going on, Ethan?
He's always got some interesting expression in his marketing. He does really well. It's always a happy kind of look. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Ethan's awesome. Listen, there's a lot of awesome people in this chat. I can't thank you guys enough for coming out to support this. This is awesome. Thank you.
Gary Priestley is a name I vaguely recognize. I'm sorry, Gary, if I'm forgetting you from somewhere. And the Nevermore Tavern, Jay, I believe, is his name. He was going to host a debate between me and somebody else, and it didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. But that's things don't always work out. But I do have him in mind for future debates, because I do think he runs a good. He's good at moderating debates in an impartial way.
And my beautiful wife, Amber, in the chat.
Oh. Hello, Amber.
Now, as far as Gary Priestley and Jay are concerned, enjoy them too while you can, because there might come a day and a time where I get my hands on both of them and teach them something about this fappy old dude crap. That's an inside joke. They know I won't hurt them.
Okay. Yeah, I hope you're not going to hurt them.
Not too bad.
As he lights his cigarette. If you had a role in a mafia movie, you'd be able to ace it.
Hey, yo, what are you picking on my accent now? Because I'm from Jersey.
No, you're saying all this and you're lighting a cigarette. The timing was great. It was just everything just fell through perfectly.
Listen, if we got to have some kind of personal chat someday, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, look at that. He's just escalating things even further. Oh, this is just perfect, man. Yeah, that's just great. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah.
So now, speaking about the list of channels,
Yeah.
and YouTube creators and other things that you have, do you consider that a part of your activism, as far as being atheist activist?
I do. That's more of a personal effort. I just put in the private chat so you can share it out to the public chat if you want, or put it in the description. So that's the Atheist Frontier is a project I started on a long time ago because I wanted to do that. I wasn't as serious when I started that. I just wanted to have a place online to put the various information about atheism that I picked up over time, and just have kind of a place to have it there and make it available to everybody. And it started to grow into a much more serious website over time. And if you went to the glossary and clicked on atheism, there's an article there that I made for fun that has the list of benefits for atheism. I have another section called atheistic values. If you click on values on that one, and it's just it's all written in a way to be kind of fun, and but it's also serious. So yeah. So the benefits are kind of a hilarious thing to read through, I think. I'm actually just going to tell you what we've got listed there. So we have honor, freedom, arts, knowledge, friendship, logic, compassion. So, and there's a subtlety here with saying atheistic values rather than atheist values, because the values themselves are atheistic. That means they're not dependent on belief in a deity. And so it's a subtle point that I was kind of presenting there just for fun. I've actually received hateful emails through the website on this. How dare you call it atheist? Well, read it again. It says atheistic. It doesn't say atheist values. So it's a very subtle little slip there that's actually raised some hostility from people who think that they're more important than everybody else. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed that I don't know what it is, but it seems like people don't actually read everything anymore. They just skim over it and automatically jump to their own conclusion.
Yeah, and I have to admit I'm not innocent of that myself, and I've caught myself doing it a few times, and I do wonder how often I do it and don't realize. It's there's only so much time in the day, and to read everything over carefully and in detail is with full attention is not always possible. So it is a common part of being human, I think. Yeah. So I guess what I was saying about that meaning of atheism being fundamental, that's important for our efforts, because in normalizing atheism, regarding it as a classification of not believing in deities is of particular importance, because it's consistent with what the meaning of the word really is, with linguistic structure, with the etymology, with the definitions, and with the understanding. But it's also important because if we're going to say that it's normal not to believe things, and so it's normal to be an atheist, that's what atheist has to mean. Because as soon as you're taking a position, then there's an avenue of attack there, and it has to be that's something that you're then tasked with. There's a warrant to have to defend it. By not being in position, by simply being a classification that's not taking a position on something, we are completely free of all that kind of burden. And a common tactic I see coming from people who are debating with atheists or trying to vilify us, is they'll try to shoulder a burden of proof on us, or an onus of justification. And so the way they do that is to make the claim that atheism is taking an anti-theistic position or is more than what it is in some way. And that's why I always push back against that and say, no, it's really simpler than that. It doesn't include all that extra baggage. It's not anti-theistic, although an anti-theist can be is by consequence an atheist. Atheism doesn't reciprocate. So an anti-theist who says there's no deities is taking a position that is anti or opposite of the theist position. That could be polytheist or monotheist. It doesn't really matter. One or more deities. And I see Gary has become my 158th subscriber. Thank you, Gary. Yep. I appreciate that. I do try to reciprocally subscribe back to anybody who has a subscribable YouTube channel. Some channels you can't subscribe to, I guess because people haven't gone through the full steps of setting up their channel, and that's fine. But the ones who have, I always subscribe back. And it's the same with the True North Talk. At truenorthtalk.ca, that website has a link to our YouTube channel, and that's for our upcoming call-in program. We're doing reciprocal subscriptions there as well, and then that people can get more subscribers that way. And if it's helping somebody get closer to reaching 100 subscribers and get a custom URL at the very least, then fantastic. We're pretty happy. Hey, he's got me on Twitter now too. 3434. Wow. You know, the number 34. And I don't want to sound like a numerologist here, so I'm going to stick with ASCII. The computer stuff is a quotation mark. So that's a double quotation mark there, 2 quotation marks, 3434. That's the number comes to mind for me. I did a lot of computer programming when I was a kid, taught myself. So it was a lot of fun. And so I ended up memorizing a big portion of the ASCII character set, so what all the numbers were. So. I
have no idea what any of that meant because I really didn't start doing anything on a computer until last year. So
good for you. Yeah, it's all this YouTube stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're doing well. You've got a good steady picture going. Your sound is clear. I think you're running your videos well. We're not stuck with you not realizing you're on live and trying to fiddle with papers or something. And hey, yeah, here we go. None of that's going on. You seem to be taking to it quite well.
I'm trying. Yeah, this was all my wife's idea, and it seems to be going fairly well for the most part. You know, I had a couple of issues.
You know what I say about wife support is that it's very often more important than life support.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd be back in prison.
Oh, look at that instantaneous response. Yeah, total agreement without any hesitation. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's
that says a lot right there.
Yeah. She's the backbone of this whole operation. So
yeah, my wife is very supportive too. It sounds like you've got you're fortunate like me that you've got a great wife.
Yeah.
So
now we're getting close to the hour mark here. So if anybody in the chat has any questions, make sure to tag me and we'll go ahead and ask them. I see Jay picking on my wife, but so now
you got to go defend her. If he's picking on your wife, you got to go defend her.
Yeah, she can handle Jay with one hand tied behind her back. I'm not worried about that. So now, as far as the debates and stuff that you
this is a fun territory. I love the debates. Yeah, I'm learning so much. Yeah.
Have you gone against some of the I don't know, like who are some of the bigger, well-known YouTube creators that you've debated so far?
Boy, I'm trying to remember here. Like modern day debate has brought me some publicity there, and I've gained some subscribers through that, which has been nice. There is I would like to debate some better known people. It's mostly been kind of smaller, but Christopher Hitchens did debate a lot of the people who were lesser known. And so I don't see that as being a very important factor. What's important is how well they debate. So I definitely would like to debate some of the more well-known people. Like one I would really like to debate is Dr. Jordan Peterson. because Dr. Peterson said publicly in his conversation with Matt Dillahunty when they were here in Vancouver, BC, here in Canada, he had said that there's atheists are Christians, but we just don't know it. Obviously, that's not true. And so Matt Dillahunty asked him an excellent question, which was, what, in his view, Dr. Peterson's view, would a real atheist be like, or a true atheist be like? And Dr. Peterson's answer was, be like Raskolnikov from the Crime and Punishment novel. He'd be going around murdering people. The atheists would be. And so, of course, I do want to debate with Peterson on this issue, because obviously he's wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd want to delve into why he felt that way. Oh, hello, Nerdy Rodent. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining us, as with everybody else. And I see him in the chat on the side there. So, and that's an example of the kind of vilification that does go on here in Canada sometimes, and in other parts of the world. And that's what I'm working on countering. So by getting a chance to even have a short conversation with him, if it doesn't get to be a full-fledged debate, would be fine, because at least I'd be able to push back against that and say, here's why me as an atheist think that you're wrong. And just to make it clear, I don't think of myself as a representative of atheists. I'm a representative of myself, and I run an organization that is trying to change public perception of atheism and atheists, and represent atheism in the most positive way and most professional way that we can, as something in part of my effort to try to normalize atheism in society. And my hope is that atheism is normal not just in Canada but all over the world. That's what I really want to see, because, Christianity's had over 2,000 years to get this right, and they haven't. And you've still got problems with Catholic priests hurting children and nuns, and you've got other branches of Christianity where there's a lot of people doing really bad things in the name of Christianity. It's not working. It's failed. And the excuse of the tired old excuse of, well, you'll have world peace once everybody's following the same religion. It's not going to happen. You're trying to get rid of diversity, and the common point that I see push coming from a lot of religions is this demand for conformity. Everybody must conform to whatever standard. You look at Islam with its 100 plus denominations, the two largest, most well-known ones being Shia and Sunni, but there's so many others as well that are ignored. The Wahhabi, the Ismaili, and the list goes on and on and on. I have a list of about 100 of them already. And when I've talked to different Muslims about this, a common response, not all, but from many, is there's a few who accept it, that there's multiple denominations, but most seem to think that, no, those aren't real Islam, or they're part of whatever denomination they're in, and they just don't know it. Another Jordan Peterson kind of response. Yeah. So, and I do think that Jordan Peterson has done quite a lot of damage to atheist, to the perception of atheism, and I do want to see that countered, because he's got a big voice out there, because he became famous rather quickly. And he has a lot of experience speaking publicly, because he's a professor, and so a tenured professor, of psychology. So he knows how to present very, very well, and knows how to read his audience because of the psychology that he teaches. So he's able to really cater to his audiences very effectively, more so than I think a lot of other presenters. And that's why he comes across as so eloquent. Like his 12 steps to living a better life, or whatever it's called. I read through those, and I can find easy ways to disagree with all 12 of them. There are problems with all of them. And so one of the response videos I'm thinking of putting together is in response to his 12 steps to living a better life. And there's others I want to do as well. So,
yeah, I'd like to honestly see worldwide atheism be legal, and not see people being atheists sent to prison or being stoned to death or anything like that.
Like in Saudi Arabia, the Richard Dawkins Foundation a few years back had uncovered a new law that was put into Saudi Arabia that atheists are automatically misclassified as terrorists. And I'm using the word misclassified. They don't see it as a misclassification. I do, because the fact of the matter is that it is a misclassification. It's because atheism doesn't promote any sort of violence or any demand for conformity or anything like that. There's nothing to it, literally.
No.
And the Saudi regime, as what I've understood from people I know who've lived there and recently moved away from there, a few of them call it escaped, but it's not that hard. If you have enough money, you can just leave. It's not, you can travel out and just don't come back. But it's still, if you're not rich, you're stuck in their regime, right? So it is a bit of a trap in a way, in that respect. But they've told me that the punishment for being an atheist in Saudi Arabia is 1,000 lashes. It's like getting caned 1,000 times, and then after that, a painful, slow death, execution.
Yeah.
So it's capital punishment, which I think is unethical and a violation of human rights. I know a number of people throughout the U.S. disagree with me on that, but here we don't have capital punishment in Canada. I think if somebody's wrongfully convicted is probably the easiest example against capital punishment. They have this deadline. So, to me, if you're going to have a death penalty, what a country should do in that case is so that people can, like in the US, what they should be doing is saying, okay, the judge can assign a minimum number of years that you have to serve, and then any point after that, it remains a life sentence. But any point after that minimum time served, you can apply to a judge to take the death penalty. And then that way, consent is definitely confirmed. It's not something that's willy-nilly. So if somebody is innocent, they just never have to apply to the judge, and they're going to be able to fight for the rest of their life at least. And then they don't have this deadline imposed on them. This, I think, would be an improvement over what's there now, and would be something to see. So there's a lot of problems with the prison system in the US, and even here in Canada, it's not perfect either. We've got lots of things that need improving here too. I think all over the world, we need to focus more on rehabilitation rather than punishment. And this would all be consistent with human rights. See, if we're all treating each other better, I think it makes it a lot easier for us to develop a better society. Now,
there was a couple of comments there a little while ago.
Let's have it. Let's go for it.
Well, I am Raven, and my buddy Jay from the Nevermore Tavern decided they showed up late, so we need to start over.
Okay. All right. What did we do at the beginning? We checked our sound. Okay. So how's my sound? No. Do you hear an echo?
Yeah.
I get my sound right?
I think there was a couple of times there I junk shot a little bit, but as far as the whole prison thing goes, I spent a little over starting when I was 19 years old. And I am of the opinion that natural life with no parole is a worse punishment than the death penalty anyway. Because once you kill somebody, their suffering stops. It's done and over for them. If they have to sit in prison for decades, 60, 70 years or whatever, they're going to suffer.
A minimum sentence, at least, yeah. So the suggestion that I have about changing the system, tweaking it a little bit there, how does that resonate with you from that perspective?
I think that's really a good idea. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're innocent, you're going to apply, to get out or whatever. You're not going to ask to get killed. You're going to keep fighting your case. But there are people, and a personal friend of mine had the death penalty in the state of New Jersey, and he knew he did what he did. He actually told his jury, "You might as well give me the death penalty because I'm going to keep killing if you don't."
Yeah.
So he pretty much gave consent, like, get it over with. this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. So you might as well just get it done.
Do you have any idea at all, since he was your friend, what drove him to have that attitude?
Oh, that's a long list.
There's quite a lot of factors. I'm not surprised it's not just one factor.
Yeah. There's quite a few factors, things that happened, when we were growing up, he just didn't want to deal with life anymore, period.
Was some of it abuse at the hands of others and things like that too?
It was abuse as far as like mental abuse.
Okay.
Both of us come from pretty broken homes. Our parents were drug addicts. Like my mother was a heroin addict, and his mother was no better. We didn't actually get raised by our parents per se. We grew up with my Aunt Barb, and there was just a lot of things.
I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through all of that. And
it made me who I am.
Yeah. And that's the thing about life, is we can still decide what we're going to do going forward. We always have this freedom. And this is an important thing to have.
Atheist Pastor would like to invite you to our Christmas party this Friday. It'll be pretty early again, your time though. It's 7:30 a.m. Eastern on Friday.
Oh, how long's the party going for?
So, it's going to be going on for a while.
So it's not just a few hours; it's an all-day thing.
He's starting earlier than that, but I'm not going to be there until about 7:30. We're going to do like two parts. It's going to be like 5:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then second part starting at like 7:30. But we'll be going for a while. We have like 20 guests confirmed so far.
It sounds delightful. Can you send me a link and some details? Either of you can contact me in private chat or something. And
we'll send you something on Twitter.
Yeah. Sounds good. So, 7:30 will be a little early for me. Like today, that's 4:30 my time. So I'm on a 24-hour clock, so I tend to not talk about AM and PM that much.
To let everybody know, I did offer to do this at a later time if you wanted to, and Randolph said, "No, this would be fine." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh yeah, I did. It's no problem. It's interesting to reach a different audience in a way too, and see how it goes. And people can always watch this later anyway. So
yeah.
But it sounded like it was a good time for you as well. So I thought, oh, good. Yeah. I know Chris is in Australia, so the time zone is different there too. And I do have fun pointing out whenever people start talking about, time zones are confusing or something, that I like to point out that it was a Canadian invention followed by, "You're welcome."
Well, everybody, it's confirmed. That's why time zones are so confusing. It was created by a Canadian.
Somebody was drunk on maple syrup at the time, perhaps. I know Neil would appreciate that. This is a special shout out and hello to Neil and the 604 Atheist.
Well, people in Australia, that makes it so difficult because we all know Australia's fake anyway. So that's where their messed up time zones come in. Flat Earth confirmed.
If you go to Google image search and you type in upside down map into Google image search, you'll see something. It's from the perspective of Australia. The map is tilted, turned 180 degrees. It's upside down, and it's the map of the world. It's fantastic, and it's a really neat way to look at the world. So
Micro Raptor, is Randolph saying Canada invented the globe Earth?
No, I'm not saying that. I don't want the flat earthers coming after me with that much vengeance to make that kind of a claim, but nice try.
Oh man. And
to answer what your friendly neighborhood atheist channel about who does a show at 7 a.m. We do.
Yeah. People who get out of bed and aren't so freaking lazy. Little baby face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. We've been going for a little over an hour. As long as there's no more questions from the chat, I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Thank you so very much for your support. And hopefully this channel is going to keep growing, and I will be able to reach more and more people with, not only talking about atheism, but speaking out against all the hate and racism.
Yeah, the human rights and all that stuff is all very important. I think it's great what you're doing here. Thank you very much for bringing me on as your guest. This was a pleasure. I really enjoyed speaking with you. Well, and thank you to everybody who showed up.
I want to thank you for the great work you're doing up there in Canada and starting, Canadian Atheists and,
thank you.
Doing some really good activist work. And thank you for being a guest on my channel. This was a good chat.
We'll have to do it again sometime. Thanks again. All right.
All right, everybody. As always, what we say here on my channel, take care of yourself. Try and take care of one another. Don't be a buggin'. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.